What's up, everybody? Rabid Hedgehog here with another glorious day over here at Indian of Oklahoma City, doing another used bike review. Aha, the new Thruxton. The last time I was here, I did a Thruxton 900. This is the Thruxton 1200. Of course, this one has had some fun stuff done to it. Bullet cowling, modified intakes, Triumph branded Vance and Hines. I mean, this one's had some serious work done to it, so not a stock bike by any means. Fender elimination and change out for the back end there. Pretty sweet overall looking bike. Love the spokes on it. Classic cafe racer right there for sure. Kind of go around it one more time so you guys can see this thing. All of its glory. All right, so just like the other Bonnevilles, you're going to have your analog speedometer, tachometer, all the fun stuff right there. You're going to see that you have oil, water, ABS, turn signal, service engine light, neutral indication, all that good stuff over there, fuel light. Of course, you do have your gear counter right there. You can honestly scroll through that by hitting the information button. Trip 1, 2, MPGs, average MPG clock, traction control, ABS, so you can control all that fun stuff. You'll see this one adds another mode because you got sport mode to go on top of rain and road. And we're going to go ahead and put that into sport mode. You can see the gas gauge right there. Engine cutoff switch all the way down to on. Hazard, there's your mode button, information button. Of course, you can change all your stuff right there. So let's go ahead, hop on this thing and take it for a ride. Hopping up on here. Alrighty. Alright, so you can see definitely leaning forward position on this particular machine. Bar end mirrors are always so hard for me to get right, so let me try to get to where I can see here. Alrighty. Cable actuated clutch, friction zone, about 2.5. If you're going to go from 1 being all the way in and 5 being all the way out. See if I can sneak on through here. Vantage motorcycles, right? Alright, now this is a 6-speed transmission. I rode the regular 120 last week, and this engine was a sweet little ride, and that was stock. This one, of course, has a little bit more air to breathe with the new intakes and the exhaust. I don't know if it's been taken in for a tune or not, but if it has, we'll find out. Beautiful. This engine is just happy. Alrighty. So I'm up at top gear. We're at highway speed. I'm right around 3,700 RPMs at 70 miles an hour. So it doesn't churn very much at all. A red line on this one is 7 grand. Now I have to say the position on this bike is actually fairly aggressive. It has that clip-on style handlebar, so you're more in a down position. So right now my feet are actually kind of lined up with my hip, and then my shoulders come forward to those, and then I go straight down from them to the bar. A little bit of bend in my elbow because I'm a little tall for the machine. I'm 6 foot tall, 32-inch inseam. And this thing does not take much at all to get up to speed or hold speed, and in fact it likes to wander up a little bit, so you got to kind of watch it. The engine's got really good power, and really good fueling, just like the T120. Only this one's got a little bit more spirit to it. Of course, I am in sport mode, which allows for a little bit twitchier throttle response. Opens the bike up a little bit more. Now, to say the little bullet fairing is really cool, the bike is a little too short for me to fully tuck in though. So if I was to fully get in a tuck, I can kind of get there, but the angle's a little off because I can't get my back scooted up far enough because that cowling back there, so can't get the backside quite into the position for a good tuck. But still not too bad. Very aggressive. Like I said, it's a very short fall to the pegs down below too. So my knees, they're up against the tank, but not very far down there. Here's the foot pegs. So like I said, this is a very aggressive stance. So this is more of a traditional cafe racer style than a clubman style like the W800 Cafe. And of course, this one here, if people are going to compare the cafe racers, this Triumph's going to beat that W800 every day. The power on this one is so much more. Of course, it comes from being a bigger engine. It comes from being a water-cooled engine. And it comes from being a little bit more expensive, too. I know some people have asked me, well, how do I feel about the Triumph Thruxton Cafe versus the W800? And, well, I mean, let's face it, Triumph wrote the book on Cafe. The W800 came after. Now, I gotta say, with the suspension setup that it's got, it has that traditional fork up front. It has the piggyback Öhlins suspension on the back. And this thing handles these horrifying roads in Oklahoma actually rather well. It just kind of glides right over them. Very nice ride for this machine here. Even going through town right now, it's actually not too uncomfortable. I'm not putting too much weight on the wrist or anything like that. I still, like I said, got that bend in my elbows and such, and that way I can kind of relax and drop them down there and kind of help that weight out, so that way I'm not putting full out on the handlebars there, put full out on my wrist on the weight. Boy, this thing is effortless. I have to say, the last couple of Triumphs I've done, including the Thruxton 900, I had some issues with the steering being a little bit heavy. And of course, that might be what I wasn't expecting kind of deal. And you know, when you anticipate something and you get something else, you kind of make a comment on it. Oh, this one is super light. Turning on it is super easy to do. And it's got these really narrow handlebars, but man, it rides beautifully. This is just old school riding right here, and I love this big bullet cowl. I know they don't typically come with these things, but I love the way it makes it look. It gives it a cool old school feel. All right, we're in fourth gear here. We'll pull out of that. Construction zone, get some speed. Oh, man. That little 1200 engine has some spirit to it. Clutch action is really nice. I like the added on levers here. They're both adjustable, but they're both really good pull, both very good feedback from both of them. This is just fun. It helps when you have really good suspension and everything, especially when you're in a full tuck position like this, because if it's uncomfortable, it translates so much faster than other machines. But when you got really comfortable suspension and everything, man, it just works out really well. All right, I'm going to go ahead and switch this over to road mode here real quick. See how it changes the attitude here. It is on standby, so you will have to pull in the clutch to complete the change. Of course, we're coming to a stop here, and I'm now in road mode as I pulled in the clutch to downshift. Engine braking is actually fairly decent, a little bit better than the T120 I had last week. Does slow it down a little bit more. It does still coast more than others though, so it's not an aggressive style of compression braking. And the sound out of the Vance and Hines is actually more subdued than I was anticipating. I was expecting it to be a little bit louder. Alright, between the road mode and the sport mode, fueling takes about 1/8 of an inch more to start kicking in like it did, but there's still plenty of power coming out of the engine, that's for sure. This 1200 engine is producing some really good power. I'm in 4th gear at 45 miles an hour right now, city speeds a little over 3,100 RPM to tootle around town on. And like I said, I don't care that this thing is in a more tucked position. It's not terrible. Like I said, the suspension is not causing massive hits to me, and it's just not bad at all. And like I said, I can get my hands and arms in a position to take that weight off the wrist, so it rides really comfortably for such an aggressive machine and aggressive rear sets. And you can see we got quite a bit of wind today too, coming off from the side, and it cuts right through it just fine. Not being moved around in any way. All right. Ooh. Front brake has really good bite. Of course, that's coming from twin Brembo brakes up there, and they're massive, so they bring this thing down to a halt in a hurry. I'm gonna go ahead and switch to rain mode here. All right. Oh wow, rain mode really takes away a lot of the throttle response. Takes quite a bit more to get it going. You can pour your wrist into it, and it does take quite a bit more action to get it to go, for sure. So if you're going to be riding this and commuting with it, it's got a great set of power modes, so that way you can move it around and adjust it for your road condition. That's the great thing about a good commuter bike, if you have the ability to change your power modes, is because you can run into any condition, knock down the power, bring it back up. If you're back on the highway, whatever you want to do, it gives you quite a bit of leeway to do things. All right, we're going to do another good brake check here. Oh man, I start sliding forward on the seat. Really positive feedback from the brakes on this thing. I'm gonna go back to sport mode here. There we go. What a difference that makes. Woo, big difference. Don't mind it. Yeah, the stability on this thing is really nice too. We're going right through, like I said, all this wind and these broken roads, and this bike feels solid as a rock going down the road. Like I said, I was expecting a lot more feedback from those Vance and Hines, and in reality, they're not that loud. Boy, this thing goes freely up to that red line in a hurry. You get about 45 miles an hour in first gear, you better be shifting because it's already hit the red line. It's a little bit better sound when you get a little bit more RPM, but Not much. Like I said, I'm surprised how quiet it actually is. All right. Man, this thing is amazing. I am so glad Triumph developed this engine over their older one. That older one lacked the character and the charisma and the power of these new ones. Thank goodness they actually decided to change their mind, go liquid cooled, but keep it classic looking, because my gosh, it makes a huge difference. And these bikes are riding amazingly. Alright, so 60 miles an hour, which is what some of y'all's speeds are. You're looking at around 3,300 RPM, so this thing's not really churning and burning that bad. Now today is around 88 degrees right now, so it is warming up. We'll be around 94, 95, somewhere in there today. And I can tell you there is some heat coming off of these cleaners right here, believe that or not. Of course, that's got a place for it to travel down and onto your leg. Get your leg separated from it, and you can still feel the heat right there on your shin and around your ankle area on the right side, and more your shin on the left. There's not really much heat coming down toward the ankle on that side. So you do get some heat on this bike, but like I said, this is more that commuter style point A to B kind of deal, not really a fire away and go a long way on it. I know some people will do it. I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, it rides really nice. You can see, like I said, it's very stable. I don't mind doing a one-handed ride here because it got all this wind over here to my left side, and it's not doing nothing. It's just cutting right through it. Extremely stable. Tire's not really tracking it in the rain grooves or anything like that. It's got a wide enough front end that it just kind of goes right through. Nice, smooth, wonderful little ride. If I'm going to do a sport bike or a more sporting bike, this is the kind I would definitely want. Not quite as aggressive as your Japanese super sports, but still fairly aggressive compared to your regular standards. It's lightweight, it turns well, it rides well, it cuts through wind well. Like I said, all the ways it's been done with the suspension and everything is beautiful. So on a broken road like this, you can have a sporting ride and yet a comfortable ride. And I think this suspension makes all the bit, because usually in this kind of tuck position, I already have a hip cramp. And only like 15 to 20 minutes, and I don't even have that going on right now because, like I said, I don't have anything compressing me hard. Just a bike that likes to ride, and a rider that loves to ride it. It is just such an easygoing machine, but so powerful. Very exciting. Another well done bike by Triumph, and once again another awesome used bike from Indian of Oklahoma City. I thank them for letting me take out their machines. I don't work for them. I'm not paid by them. They just let me come in, grab a machine that I think is interesting, and let me take it out for a fun little ride. And I appreciate them for that. So show them your support by visiting them in the description below at the links and everything. And you can even stop by on Facebook and say I said hello. But yeah, this thing is just amazing. I also want to give a shout out to my gear partners today, AGV Sport. I know a lot of you guys like to ask what kind of gear that I wear. Well, right now AGV Sport has provided our team with our gear and safety. You'll see my jeans are actually AGV Sport. Metro jeans. They are Kevlar lined. They have lining in them. They have breathability, stretchability. They're very nice riding jeans. My flannel 130 right here, also known as the James in color, and my Mercury gloves in blue from AGV Sport USA. Once again, thank you guys for supplying our gear to keep us safe, keep us protected, and keep us riding. Guys, show your support for them as well, and even order from them if you're on our side of the pond by visiting their link in the description below. All right, so back to our regularly scheduled review. We're going to go over our harsh little bumps here that extremely test out all the suspension components in all the greatest ways possible. We have our bump that goes inside and our speed bump here. And neither of those did I leave the seat. It compressed just fine, took it, and stayed extremely stable. Once again, well done suspension on this machine. And plenty of pulling power to get you back on the interstate after taking all those terrible bumps and not being able to get up to speed. So if I'm going to do a recommendation on this motorcycle, this one is definitely going to be for in-town commuting. A fun commuter, a heck of a fun commuter. I'd love to commute on this bike every day to work. That's exactly what I do this, or use this for. Go to work every day on it. Throw in a backpack, go to work, have some fun, and then leave town for a moment and go hit the twisties that are somewhat close to me, which are like over an hour away still from my job. But still, it's a bike you can kind of do that with. I think you could probably squeeze out about an hour and a half to 2 hours of riding at a time before a good stretch out. If you're as tall as me, you're a little bit shorter, it's always going to be a little bit different. The heat doesn't really get to you. I mean, if you're riding at this speed, it's not really that much of a big deal. You can feel it. It's when you stop is when you get the most of it. But like I said, if you commute on these kind of highways to work or home or whatever you're going to do, let's just go ahead and put the beans in it and get some speed there, because this thing can do it. This is what I recommend this for. This is exactly what this bike is good at. Urban brawling and commuting. So at any rate, this is the Rabid Hedgehog. Once again, thank you to Indian of Oklahoma City. And once again, thank you AGV Sport USA for keeping our butt covered since 1985. Y'all keep that shiny side up, and we'll catch you on the next review.
What's up, everybody? This is the Rabid Hedgehog. We once again want to thank you for watching our videos. Please like, share, subscribe today, and if you like what you see, mash that notification button so that way you get our latest videos and notifications live and on the spot. We also want to thank our dealership partners, Indian of Oklahoma City, House of Kawasaki, and Motovcycle Works Moto Guzzi, who is also our motorcycle mechanic. We want to thank them for allowing us to ride their rides. We are not paid in by any way by any manufacturer or dealer. We just get to be mad men and women with opinions. We also want to reach out to our sponsors and thank them. We have Law Tigers Motorcycle Lawyers. These motorcycle lawyers are mostly nationwide and can be reached 24/7 at lawtigers.com or 1-888-868-0208. We also want to thank our newest sponsor for gear and the things that you see us wearing, AGV Sport USA. They are out of AGVSportUSA.com in Flower Mound, Texas. We also want to thank Doug Crawford and AMS Oil for protecting our machines with the latest in lubrication technologies. He can be found at usasynthetics.com or 405-388-6170. And also for Derek Enloe and Associates Insurance Company, he can be found at 405-261-1010. Once again, everybody, keep that shiny side up, and we'll catch you on the next ride.